When life crushes you, when your chest feels heavy and your thoughts scream louder than the world outside, that is the exact moment you must rise. Happiness is not given to you. It is forged in the fire of pain, built when everything feels broken, and carved into your soul when the world tells you to quit. Understand this. No one is coming to save you. No miracle is walking through that door. You are the miracle. You are the answer. And if you choose to stay down, then life wins. But if you stand, even when your legs shaky, even when your heart feels shattered, you prove to yourself that nothing, absolutely nothing, has the power to keep you defeated. Push yourself to smile through pain. Push yourself to walk when you feel like crawling. Push yourself to love life when it feels like life doesn't love you back. Because happiness is not about circumstances. It's about control. It's about refusing to surrender your soul to struggle. When you push yourself in hard times, you don't just survive, you dominate. And that domination creates a happiness no one can steal. Happiness is a choice, not a gift. Too many people sit around waiting for it to fall into their hands like some magical reward, as if one day life will suddenly make sense, as if the storms will stop and the sun will shine just for them. That day doesn't come. You can wait your whole life and it will never arrive. Happiness is not something the world hands to you. It's something you fight for, something you build brick by brick, and something you choose in the darkest hours when it feels impossible. Happiness is a battle, and you either step into the fight or surrender to misery. Think about it. The happiest people you've ever met are not the ones who had it easy. They're not the ones who never felt pain, never went through loss, or never carried weight on their shoulders. They are the ones who suffered, who broke down, who bled, but who stood back up and made a decision to not let life own them, a decision to not hand over their joy to circumstance, a decision to look pain in the eyes and say, you will not define me. That's where happiness is born, in the fire, not in comfort. You can't control everything around you. People will betray you, situations will collapse, money will vanish, health will falter, storms will come, but you always control one thing, your reaction. That's where your power lies. You can choose to stay bitter, to stay broken, to stay trapped in sadness, or you can choose to rise, even when you don't feel like it, even when every part of you is screaming to give up. Happiness isn't pretending the pain doesn't exist. It's deciding that no matter how heavy the burden, you will not let it poison your spirit. The truth is, pain is permanent only if you allow it to be. You can sit in it, drown in it, and make it your identity, or you can take that same pain and use it as fuel. The strongest people in history were not born with smiles on their faces. They were built through war, through loss, through heartbreak. Their joy came not because life was easy, but because they refused to let difficulty strip them of their spirit. That's the same choice you have right now. If you wake up every day waiting for happiness to just appear, you'll wait forever. If you wake up every day and decide to create it, you'll find it everywhere, even in the smallest things. When you're broke, you can still choose gratitude for the air in your lungs. When your heart is shattered, you can still choose strength in knowing you're alive to feel. When everything feels heavy, you can still choose the pride of carrying it and moving forward. Choice is what separates people who are crushed by life from those who thrive in it. Happiness is not about external achievements either. You can have cars, houses, fame, attention, and still be miserable. Why? Because happiness is not about what you own. It's about what owns you. If your mind is filled with bitterness, no amount of wealth can save you. If your soul is filled with resilience, even the smallest victory can bring joy. This is why some of the poorest people smile the brightest and some of the richest drown in emptiness. Happiness isn't a gift. It's a daily decision. Every single day, you get to decide who you are going to be. Will you be the person who lets life dictate your emotions, or the person who dictates your emotions regardless of life? That's the difference between weakness and strength. Weakness waits, strength chooses. Weakness complains, strength adapts. Weakness hopes for things to change, strength decides to change, even in the middle of chaos. And that decision to keep pushing, to keep standing, to keep smiling in the storm, that decision is happiness. Stop blaming the world for how you feel. Stop blaming the past, your circumstances, your upbringing, your struggles. All of those things may have shaped you, but they don't own you. You own you. Happiness will never come as long as you give your power away. Take it back. Take control of your emotions, take control of your choices, and happiness will follow, not because life suddenly became easy, but because you became unbreakable. There is strength in knowing you don't need anyone's permission to be happy. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need every door open. You don't need the approval of the world. All you need is your decision. Right here, right now, you can decide to rise above the pain. You can decide to take the weight on your shoulders and turn it into power. You can decide to smile in defiance of the struggle. That is what happiness truly is. Defiance, a refusal to give misery the victory. So when life hits you, when it knocks you to your knees, when you feel like you can't breathe, remember this. Happiness is a choice, not a gift. No one will give it to you. No one can hand it to you wrapped in a bow. It's yours to claim, yours to build, yours to protect. And if you choose it every single day, no matter how heavy life gets, you will not just survive, you will conquer. Pain builds the strongest mindset. It is not comfort, not ease, not luxury that molds greatness. Comfort makes you soft, ease makes you weak, and luxury blinds you to reality. But pain is the sculptor of warriors. Pain is the silent teacher that no one wants to meet, but everyone must face. It forces you to confront the deepest parts of yourself, the doubts, the fears, the insecurities you try to hide. Pain strips away illusions, and in that raw exposure, you either crumble or you rise stronger than you ever thought possible. When life hurts you, when it breaks you down to your knees, that is the moment you are being forged. Like steel in fire, you cannot harden without heat. Every struggle, every loss, every disappointment is fuel. Weak minds see pain as punishment. Strong minds see it as training. You don't get strength by wishing for an easy life. You get strength by surviving the storms that were meant to destroy you. And once you survive, once you push through, you are never the same again. You become sharper, tougher, untouchable. That's what pain does. It builds the mindset of someone who refuses to be broken. Think about athletes, fighters, leaders, inventors. Every person who achieved something worth remembering, none of them had it smooth. They were broken. They were laughed at. They were told they couldn't do it. They failed again and again, and each failure carved strength into their spirit. Pain doesn't just make you strong physically, it makes you strong mentally. It teaches you patience. It teaches you endurance. It teaches you how to keep going when nothing makes sense. It whispers, if you can survive this, you can survive anything. And that belief, that fire, is what separates champions from everyone else. Without pain, you don't grow. Without pain, you don't learn discipline. Without pain, you don't develop the mindset required to stand when the world pushes you down. Comfort zones are prisons. Pain is freedom. Pain shows you who you are, and more importantly, who you can become. Every scar is a story. Every tear is a lesson. Every failure is a seed of greatness planted inside you. The strongest mindset is not built in moments of joy. It's built in nights of struggle, in mornings when you didn't want to get up but did anyway, in battles that no one else saw but you fought and survived. Pain also teaches gratitude. When you've known deep suffering, you appreciate small victories in a way others never will. You learn to smile not because life is perfect, but because you've walked through hell and come out alive. That perspective is power. The mindset forged in pain doesn't crumble under stress, it thrives under pressure. While others panic, you remain calm. While others quit, you push harder. Because once you've lived through your darkest nights, daylight doesn't scare you. Too many people run from pain, trying to numb it, avoid it, or deny it. They don't realize that by running, they're running from growth. You can hide from pain, but life will always bring it back around stronger and louder. The only way forward is through. You face it, you embrace it, and you take the lessons it gives you. And that's how strength is born. The strongest mindset is not about being fearless. It's about standing strong even while fear is burning inside you. It's about saying, this hurts, but I will not stop. Pain also teaches humility. It reminds you that no matter how strong you think you are, life can break you. And yet in that breaking, you find out just how resilient you can be. The mindset pain builds is unshakable because it has already been shaken to its core and survived. It doesn't rely on motivation. It relies on discipline. It doesn't need validation. It finds purpose and persistence. That's what makes it unstoppable. And when you finally look back at the pain, you realize it was never your enemy. It was the best teacher you ever had. Without the heartbreak, you wouldn't have strength. Without the failure, you wouldn't have wisdom. Without the suffering, you wouldn't have hunger. Pain gave you everything you needed to become the person you are today. People who never face real pain never develop real strength. They live fragile lives, always afraid of the storm, always unprepared when hardship strikes. But those who embrace pain, who learn from it, who let it carve their soul into iron, they live unbreakable lives. So when you feel pain, don't curse it. Don't run. Don't fall into the trap of thinking it's the end. Instead, see it for what it truly is, the beginning of a stronger version of yourself, the beginning of a mindset that cannot be stopped, the beginning of greatness. Every wound, every scar, every sleepless night, it's building something inside you that the world cannot touch. Pain builds the strongest mindset. And if you are brave enough to endure it, you will rise to heights that comfort will never allow you to reach. Struggle is the training ground of resilience. No one wakes up strong, unshakable, or immune to hardship. Strength is not handed out like a prize. Resilience is not a gift someone wraps and delivers to your doorstep. Both are earned, forged, and hammered out in the furnace of struggle. Struggle is life's way of testing you, of asking, do you have what it takes? Are you willing to endure when the weight feels unbearable? Will you break or will you bend and come back stronger? Every obstacle you face is not meant to destroy you, but to prepare you for the battles ahead. Without struggle, you will never know the depth of your power. Just think of the times you were most proud of yourself. Was it during the easy days when everything flowed effortlessly, or was it after you pushed through something that nearly broke you? True pride comes from survival, from endurance, from proving to yourself that you can walk through fire and not collapse. That's the secret. Resilience is born from repeated exposure to struggle. Every setback toughens your skin. Every failure sharpens your mind. Every disappointment teaches you persistence. Struggle is not punishment. It's training. The kind you can't fake, the kind that shapes character at the core. The strongest people in history did not rise from comfort. They rose from adversity. They were forced to fight for every inch of progress. And in that fight, they built resilience. The ability to stand back up every time they fell. The ability to keep moving even when the road was endless and dark. Struggle is the weight you lift every day that makes your mental muscles grow. Without it, you stay weak, fragile, and unprepared. The moment life throws something real at you, you collapse. But if you've been through the struggle, if you've trained in the battlefield of hardship, you've built an inner strength that nothing can shatter. Resilience isn't about never falling. It's about getting up so many times that falling no longer scares you. Struggle teaches you this rhythm. You fail, you fail again, you stand again until it becomes second nature. Resilience becomes part of who you are, like armor around your soul. And the only way to earn that armor is to embrace the struggle instead of running from it. People who avoid hardship, who seek only comfort, who live in fear of pain, they remain vulnerable. On strong wave and they are swept away. But those who have walked through storms time and time again are unmovable because they know the storm always passes and they know they will always outlast it. Struggle also trains perspective. When you've been at rock bottom, when you've faced hunger, loneliness, betrayal, or despair, you gain a vision that others lack. Small problems no longer rattle you. Minor inconveniences don't break your spirit. You fought bigger battles. You carried heavier loads. So the daily chaos of life feels small in comparison. That's resilience, being untouchable by the little things because you've already endured the massive one. Without struggle, people collapse under the smallest pressure. With struggle, you develop unshakable calm, the kind of mindset that allows you to push forward when everyone else is panicking. The truth is, struggle gives meaning to life. Without it, victories wouldn't taste sweet. Without it, achievements wouldn't matter. Imagine winning without effort, succeeding without obstacles, achieving without sweat or sacrifice. It would feel empty. Struggle gives you something priceless, appreciation. You value success because you fought for it. You value happiness because you survived sadness. You value peace because you endured chaos. The deeper the struggle, the deeper the appreciation when you rise from it. That's why resilient people live with more gratitude, more strength, and more pride. They know what it took to get here. Resilience doesn't mean you don't feel pain. It doesn't mean you don't cry, bleed, or break. It means you don't stay broken. It means you stitch yourself back together even when it hurts, even when no one is watching. Struggle trains you to do that, to keep moving with scars, to keep fighting with wounds, to keep believing when hope seems lost. That's why resilience is rare. It can't be faked. It has to be earned, and the price is struggle. Struggle is the teacher that demands everything but gives back more than you can imagine. It doesn't hand you resilience overnight. It builds it slowly, painfully through repeated trials. Each day you endure, you add another layer of strength, another piece of armor, another reason why you will not be defeated. Over time, you transform into someone unrecognizable, not fragile, not easily shaken, but solid, grounded, unstoppable. So when struggle comes, don't curse it. Don't ask why me. Ask instead, what is this teaching me? How is this preparing me? Because every hardship is a lesson, every obstacle is a test, and every struggle is training you for something greater. One day you will look back at your darkest hours and realize they were the reason you became unbreakable. The struggle is the training ground of resilience, and if you embrace it, you will discover that nothing, not pain, not loss, not failure, can keep you down. Control your emotions, control your destiny. Every great victory and every crushing failure begins in the mind, not in the world outside. The way you respond to fear, anger, sadness, and doubt shapes the course of your entire life. Emotions are powerful, so powerful that if you let them control you, they will destroy you. They will make you quit before the finish line, lash out and ruin relationships, or drown in self-pity when you should be rising. But if you master them, if you bend them to your will instead of being bent by them, then there is no limit to what you can achieve. Your emotions are either the chains that hold you back or the fuel that propels you forward. The choice is yours. Think of how many people have lost everything because they couldn't control their anger. 1 second of rage can ruin a career, a family, a reputation. How many dreams have been abandoned because fear took over? How many lives have been wasted because sadness convinced someone they weren't enough? These emotions are not your enemies, but they are wild beasts. Left untamed, they devour you. But once mastered, they become weapons of power. Anger can be turned into determination. Fear can be turned into preparation. Sadness can be turned into wisdom. Control them, and you can shape your life. Lose control, and life shapes you. The truth is, the world will always throw chaos your way. You cannot stop pain. You cannot avoid betrayal. You cannot erase failure. But you can decide how you react. That is your ultimate freedom. Most people think destiny is something written in the stars, something outside their control. They are wrong. Destiny is written in your decisions, and your decisions are dictated by your emotions. If you panic, you make weak choices. If you let anger blind you, you make reckless ones. But if you stay calm, if you think with clarity when others are drowning in feelings, you win, because clarity breeds strength, and strength shapes destiny. Every warrior, every leader, every successful person who walked this earth understood one truth. Discipline over emotions creates power. You cannot always feel motivated. You cannot always feel confident, but you can always act with control. That is the difference between winners and losers. Losers wait until they feel like it. Winners act regardless of emotion. Winners use emotion as a servant, never as a master. They feel fear, but still move forward. They feel anger, but channel it into relentless effort. They feel doubt, but drown it out with discipline. Control your emotions, and you control your life. Think about it. Life will test you with situations designed to push your buttons. People will insult you. Circumstances will frustrate you, and tragedies will break your heart. If you allow your emotions to take over, you'll react impulsively, and impulsive reactions usually end in regret. But when you master control, you step back, breathe, and act with intention. That is strength. That is wisdom. And that is the foundation of destiny, because every step you take with controlled emotions moves you closer to your purpose. Doesn't mean you suppress emotions or pretend they don't exist. That is weakness disguised as strength. Real mastery is acknowledging what you feel, but refusing to let it dictate your path. You can feel fear and still move. You can feel anger and still choose peace. You can feel sadness and still fight for hope. That's control. That's the kind of self-mastery that builds unshakable power. And the person who has that power cannot be manipulated, cannot be broken, cannot be stopped. Look at history. The greatest leaders were not those who never felt fear. They were those who faced armies and still stood calm. The greatest champions were not those who never felt doubt. They were those who looked doubt in the eye and pushed forward anyway. The greatest thinkers were not those who never felt chaos. They were those who turned chaos into clarity through control. Control of emotions doesn't just change your life, it changes generations, because a controlled mind builds legacies while an uncontrolled one destroys them. When you learn to control your emotions, you also gain control over people and situations, not because you manipulate them, but because you become the calm in the storm. Others look to you when they panic, they trust you when they fear, they follow you when they falter. You become the anchor in chaos, the steady hand when everything else shakes. That influence, that ability to stand tall while emotions run wild around you, is what shapes leaders and legends. But understand this, control takes practice. It's not something you master overnight. Every day, life will tempt you to lose it. Every insult, every setback, every moment of fear is a test. Each time you choose control over reaction, you build another layer of strength. Over time, this discipline becomes who you are. You become someone who cannot be provoked, someone who cannot be broken, someone who cannot be derailed. And when you reach that point, you are untouchable. Control your emotions, control your destiny. It's not just a phrase, it's the blueprint for greatness. Your emotions are powerful, but you are more powerful. Harness them, direct them, and they will take you wherever you want to go. Let them control you, and they will drag you into misery, failure, and regret. The choice is yours every single day. And the moment you decide to master yourself, you take control not just of your emotions, but of your entire future. Pushing through hard times creates unshakable power. The moments that break most people are the very moments that forge the few who rise above. Everyone wants strength. Everyone wants success. Everyone wants freedom, but few are willing to endure the suffering required to get there. Hard times are not a punishment. They are a gift in disguise. They strip away comfort, expose your weaknesses, and force you to face reality without filters. In those moments, you discover the truth. You're either going to crumble or you are going to climb. And if you choose to climb, if you push through instead of giving up, you create a power within yourself that no storm, no setback, and no enemy can ever take away. Hard times feel endless when you're in them. The nights feel long. The pain feels unbearable. And every step forward feels heavier than the last. But understand this, those moments are building something in you that comfort never could. Every tear, every scar, every sleepless night is like weight training for your soul. You may not notice the growth while you're carrying the burden, but when you look back, you realize the struggle has transformed you into someone tougher, stronger, more resilient than you ever imagined. That transformation is unshakable power. When you push through hardship, you earn respect, not just from others, but from yourself. There is no pride like the pride of knowing you didn't quit, that you stood tall when everything inside you screamed to collapse, that you kept moving when life gave you every excuse to stop. That respect is priceless. It builds confidence, and confidence builds momentum. And once you have momentum, nothing can stop you. Hard times are not the end of you. They are the birthplace of the unbreakable version of you. Think of history's greatest achievers. They weren't people who lived easy lives. They were people who faced rejection, betrayal, loss, and failure, but they kept pushing. The difference between the ordinary and the extraordinary is not talent, luck, or resources. It's persistence. It's refusing to let hard times define the outcome. Every champion was once a broken person who refused to stay broken. Every success story was written in blood, sweat, and tears, and every ounce of power they now hold came from surviving their lowest moments. The beauty of hard times is that they give you no choice but to adapt. Comfort allows you to stay weak. Struggle forces you to grow. It teaches patience, grit, and the art of endurance. It hardens your spirit and sharpens your focus. People who have never been through true difficulty often fall apart at the smallest challenge because they've never been trained by suffering. But those who have fought through storms, who have carried pain on their backs, who have walked through darkness, they stand solid when chaos comes. They are unshakable because they have already proven to themselves that nothing can keep them down. Power built through struggle is a different kind of power. It's not loud, it's not boastful. It's quiet, calm, and steady. It doesn't need to shout because it has nothing to prove. It simply knows I've been through worse and I survived. I can handle this too. That inner confidence is what makes people unstoppable. Life may hit them, but it cannot destroy them. They bend, but they never break. And that kind of mindset turns ordinary human beings into forces of nature. Pushing through hard times also gives you perspective. Once you've endured real suffering, smaller problems lose their weight. You stop being rattled by trivial things because you know what true hardship feels like. That perspective is power. It allows you to stay calm when others panic, to focus when others fall apart, to lead when others collapse. The more you push through, the more unshakable you become, until eventually nothing external can control your internal state. That is ultimate freedom. But here's the truth. Most people quit before they reach that level. They hit pain and surrender. They hit difficulty and retreat. They never find out how powerful they could have become because they walked away too soon. Don't make that mistake. Every time you want to give up, remember, it is in that exact moment when quitting feels easiest that growth is about to happen. If you endure just a little longer, if you push just a little harder, you break into a new level of strength. That's how unshakable power is built. Not in comfort, but in persistence. When you finally push through and come out the other side, you realize that hard times didn't just test you, they shaped you. They revealed who you are and what you're capable of. They gave you scars, but those scars are proof of survival, proof of resilience, proof of power. And once you have that proof, once you know deep down that you can survive the worst, there is nothing left to fear. Fear loses its hold, and the world loses its hold, and the world loses its power to break you. So embrace the struggle, welcome the hardship, understand that every challenge you push through is adding another layer of armor to your soul. Don't wish for an easier life, wish for the strength to handle the hard one. Because when you keep pushing, when you refuse to surrender, you don't just get through hard times, you transform into someone untouchable. And that transformation, that unshakable power, is the greatest gift life can ever give you. And now hear me clearly, life will not go easy on you. It will test you, it will hurt you, it will try to break you. But you are not here to be broken. You are here to rise. Happiness is your choice. Pain is your teacher. Struggle is your training. Control is your weapon. And persistence is your power. If you take these truths and carve them into your soul, nothing, no failure, no heartbreak, no loss will ever have the strength to own you again. You must stop waiting for life to get easier and start becoming stronger. You must stop running from the storm and learn to walk through it with your head high, because on the other side is the version of you that cannot be touched. Remember this, your destiny is not decided by circumstance. It is decided by your decisions, and every decision to push forward builds the unshakable warrior within. The world doesn't need another person who quits. It needs you. At your strongest, at your sharpest, at your most relentless. So take the pain, take the struggle, take the hard times, and rise above them all, because when you refuse to quit, you become unstoppable.